Hey there, Bruce, and welcome back to Remember 11. If, at the end of the last episode, you may remember that we died lying down face first in the snow. So I had to jump back to a point where we could make a different choice, and I guess we're gonna try and eat the food, I guess. I don't know what else to do. There's not a lot of choices that we made right before that time, so fingers crossed. Stay still. Let's try that one. I believed, rather than moving around aimlessly, I have a better chance of survival if I stay in one spot. Yomogi said that he was going to leave me behind. He probably wasn't going to come and save me. Still, it was dangerous to move around alone. I'll stay here until the snowstorm settles. Strong winds were making my body shake unsteadily. It was taking all that I had just to stand, but still, I stood there as if opposing the wind. Dude, we're gonna die. Again. Then I'm gonna have to find another choice to go back to. I suddenly raised my head. I heard it. I definitely heard it. It was the voice of Yomogi calling for me. It can't be. Did he really come to save me? Why? It didn't matter what the reason was. Now I'll be saved. Over here, right here. I placed the last of my hopes in my shouts. I concentrate on staring into the jet black darkness. Jet white darkness. Are you okay? Before I knew it, Yomogi appeared in front of my eyes. He had been this close to me? Tears began to well again from relief and happiness. Thank goodness. I hadn't been abandoned yet. I wasn't alone. Can you walk? Do your best. If we can reach the crash site, we'll definitely be able to manage somehow. I saw a helicopter. I'm sure I saw it with my own eyes. A helicopter? Was that why he continued to march on recklessly? There's no way a helicopter would come in this snowstorm. There's no way it could fly. It's obviously what Yomogi saw was just a hallucination. But what if there really was one? If it was true, then this is just the chance we've been wishing for. If we made contact with the helicopter, everyone would be saved. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? After considering it over and over again, I nodded. Let's go. If there was hope there, that means there was a means to survive there. We have to get there no matter what. I wonder how far we've walked. It felt like we'd been wandering inside the snowstorm for hours, but in reality only about 10 minutes had probably passed. It had become impossible to tell time. No matter how long we walk, we may never reach our goal. Thinking of that bred anxiety in me. Yomogi, who had been loudly cheering us on until halfway, had already fallen silent. Mayuzumi and Yuni, too, continued to push forward in silence. Yuni, who was walking in front of me, had been staggering for a while now. Their backs hunched over and their heads hanging low, they walked unsteadily, like zombies you'd see in a movie. Their appearance told me that it wouldn't be odd for them to fall over at any moment. However, I wasn't in any position to worry about Yuni in the first place. In my hazy thoughts, only the words spoken by Yomogi, "If we can reach the crash site, we'll be able to manage somehow," repeated in my mind over and over again. Will I reach the crash site first, or will I fall dead of exhaustion first? My strength was already exhausted. What remained was willpower alone. When that willpower runs out, I'll die. I continued to mutter, walk to myself with each step I took. Suddenly, Yuni fell face down in the snow right in front of me. For a moment I couldn't understand what happened. I absent-mindedly stared at a small fallen body. Yuni? I slowly pulled on Yuni's hand. His hand was so cold. It was as if it were frozen. No matter how much I pulled his hand and he hung there lifelessly. Are you dead? Even calling out to him was troubling to me. The other me in my heart became angry at myself. What do you think you're doing, just dozing off like that? Hurry and save Yuni. I fell to my knees as if collapsing and lifted Yuni's body softly in my arms. That alone felt to me like hard labour. Yuni's eyes wouldn't open. I thought he was dead, but he was still breathing laboriously. I slapped his cheek. Yuni, wake up! Yuni slightly opened his eyes. Between pants he said, I can't walk anymore. Don't say that, you'll die, you know. It's no use. Give it up. Standing where she was, Mayuzumi took a long look over at Yuni. Huh? He can't be saved. Mayuzumi was wearing a blank expression. Her body was wavering back and forth and her eyes reflected nothing. We have no choice but to leave him. What was she saying? Leave who behind? Yuni? Don't say such ridiculous things. We don't have any other options, right? Do we all die, or do we leave the child to die? Mayuzumi curved her lips in self-derision. Either way, that child can't be saved. I looked at Yuni's face. In order to save myself, I had to abandon this child. Was that really alright? But I'm afraid to die. I don't want to die. Even if I have to leave the others to die, I'm definitely going to survive. How about you? In order to save the majority, you have to sacrifice a minority. That might be an act of courage in itself. But how on earth would that be an act of courage? Save. Save Uni. There was no way I could do something as cruel as abandoning someone. I'm going back to the cabin together with Uni. I embraced Uni tightly, again with that naive optimism. Even so, even if you say that it's just pretty words, I can't sacrifice such a young child just to survive. I wouldn't be able to bear that. I'd almost lost something important to me as a person. I'd only end up hating myself unbearably. And at that moment inside the crashing airplane, I swore to myself that I'd protect Uni. I swore it. Right now, no matter what happens to me, I'm going to save Uni. It didn't look as though Uni would be able to walk by himself. He was still conscious, but his body had gone completely limp. This isn't good. Seeing Uni like that, Yomogi groaned. Hypothermia is setting in. We'd better hurry. Saying that, he lifted Uni's body in his arms and began to carry him over his shoulder. Better save again. I mean, he's better off carrying him than we are. Isn't he? Fine. I continued watching quietly. Worried about Uni, I felt we had to hurry to the shelter cabin so that we could get there even a moment sooner. Yomogi was having a lot of trouble carrying Uni. Yomogi's breathing was already ragged, but even then he didn't utter a word that betrayed any weakness. Let's go. Saying that, he began to walk steadily forward. Honestly, I didn't know if the decision to return to the cabin was the right one. It may have been better for us to just keep going. There might have been a helicopter waiting at the crash site, and the four of us might have really been rescued. We'd chosen to return to the cabin with only the thought of not wanting to put Uni through any more suffering in our minds. If that choice is wrong, we would all suffer. Not only Uni, but Yomogi and Mayuzumi as well. Doubt began to overflow in my mind. In this harsh environment, a single mistake in judgment can turn out to be fatal. What was right and what was wrong? Was the decision I made the right one? Walking in a blizzard in the dark of night, we didn't know where we were heading, but Yomogi's footsteps steadily continued. He continued walking straight without any sign of hesitation. Yomogi's back blocked out the snowstorm. His existence was reassuring. I shook off the indecision in my heart and continued walking. Still, the limit of my strength was approaching. The exhaustion became unbearable and I began to stagger over my own feet. I can't walk anymore. Attacked by despair, just when I was about to collapse. There it is. In front of our eyes was the shelter cabin where we'd spent the last 5 days. We'd made it back to our final fortress, or maybe the place that would become our grave. Nobody spoke a word. There was no hope there. There was only a gently sloping despair. But still, it was the place where we'd be able to live for just a little longer. That's right, only a little longer. Even after entering the cabin, we couldn't escape from the cold. We were all covered in snow and our coats were sopping wet. Carrying Uni inside, Yomogi laid him on the floor and began removing his clothes. Everyone, take off your clothes. Mayuzumi clucked her tongue at his words. Yet again, enough of your stupid take off your clothes. Do you want to have to chop off your fingers? Do you want to die of hypothermia? I immediately began to remove my clothes, shoes, gloves, and many layers of coats I was wearing. The inside of the coats were also damp with sweat. It may have been what was that I was wearing that had gotten soaked, because taking it off had the opposite effect, making me feel less cold. Hey, Mayuzumi was bashfully hesitating. It can't be that you're asking us to take off all our clothes, right? Take off whatever's wet. I was embarrassed too, but I kept my mouth shut because it was necessary in our current situation. I covered my body with a blanket and tucked my clothes underneath it. But I left my underwear on, of course. It was kind of drafty. I'd feel uneasy if I didn't have any clothes on at all. Uyukawa-san, there's some fuel left for the gas burner in the basement storeroom. Can you go get it? What? I thought there wasn't any fuel left. I stored it away just in case. However, there's only enough left to warm 1 bucket of water at most. Hurry. I went into the basement barefoot. Just as Yomogi had said, there was a single container of cassette type fuel left, placed at the very back of the shelves as if hidden. Finding it, I returned back up. We heated the water with the gas burner. Mayuzumi desperately held her hands close to the burner. It couldn't compare with the stove in terms of heating power, but having any fire at all right now was very reassuring. Stop it. Don't warm your hands over the fire. Why not? You've lost your sense of touch, right? You can't feel any heat, so you could burn yourself. I dried my body with a towel. The tips of my fingers and toes were pure white. My sense of touch had pretty much disappeared, and I could only feel a little numbness in them. I even tried massaging them, but the feeling wouldn't return. When the water in the bucket became lukewarm, Yomogi lowered the flame strength. Dipping some towels in the hot water, Yomogi handed one to each of us. Wrap that towel around your face, along your limbs, your ears, and your nose are highly susceptible to frostbite. Doing as he told us, I wrapped the towel around my head as if concealing my ears and nose. To an outsider, we probably look pretty silly right now. Submerge your hands and feet in the bucket. Don't raise the flame. Warm your hands slowly in the water. After looking at each other awkwardly, Mayuzumi and I both put our hands and feet in the bucket. The feeling of warmth steadily spread, as if we were being revived. As the bucket wasn't very large, Mayuzumi and I were sitting in a position where our shoulders met. Our four limbs were bumping into each other inside the narrow bucket. Hey, don't come so close. Even if you say that. Hey, don't you feel kind of itchy? Having been warmed up, my hands and feet were gradually becoming itchy. On top of that, blisters started to form here and there. Don't pull them out just because they itch. Yomogi also placed a warm towel underneath one of Yuni's armpits. He then piled on several blankets on top of him. That he was able to groan at all meant that he was still conscious. But even now, Yuni's small body was shivering. It was almost like he was convulsing. I could hardly stand to watch. Is Yuni going to be alright? He has a mild case of hypothermia. His body's still shivering, so he hasn't reached critical condition yet. But it looks like he's in critical condition because he's shivering. With hypothermia, the body stops shivering when it becomes serious. If that happens, then you won't be able to do anything with only emergency measures. Wouldn't it be better to massage him or something like that? Absolutely not. To someone with hypothermia, a massage could have the opposite effect. If you start massaging, the blood that's grown cold in his extremities will begin to flow into his heart. If that happens, his core body temperature will lower, and in worst case, he'll go into shock. I was truly thankful that Yomogi was here. If he wasn't here, we might have ignorantly killed Yuni with our own hands. If he wasn't here, we wouldn't have survived anywhere near this long anyway. Yomogi-san, thank you. Embarrassed, Yomogi only shrugged his shoulders. It was fate that brought me here, I mean. Fate? Yomogi's eyes looked very gentle as he stared at Yuni. This may be a chance given to me to atone for my sin of not being able to protect my son at that time. By saving this child, I feel like I'll be saved myself. After 30 minutes, the feeling in my hands and feet had completely returned. Yomogi and I took turns warming Yuni's hands and feet in warm water. Yuni's complexion became much better as well. As Yomogi had instructed, I was hugging Yuni's body, rolling up inside a blanket. I thought it was just something they said on TV, but apparently lying with our bodies together was effective in itself. The cold in Yuni's body was transmitted to me through his skin. I desperately prayed as I kept holding Yuni. Live. You have to live. You can't die. I'll give you as much of my body heat as you want. So live, Yuni. Day 6, I wasn't expecting there to even be a day 6. Wait, what day are we meant to die on? The night was long. Far too long. Light broke through the night. The blizzard outside raged on and on. The demonic screams of the wind rocked the cabin and shook the windows. At this point, the only thing that can penetrate the storm is a miracle. Hugging her knees, Mayuzumi kept shivering as she sat there with a vacant look in her eyes. The several layers of blankets which she was using to cover herself didn't seem to be helping at all. Weak groans escaped her lips along with the sound of chattering teeth. Yomogi was sitting on his bed, flicking his lighter open and shut continuously. His eyes, now devoid of their flame, stared blankly at the stove. Annoyed with the sound of Yomogi playing with the lighter, Mayuzumi had been pestering Yomogi in a shaky voice to stop since some time ago. But Yomogi hadn't stopped. He's probably doing it so he doesn't fall asleep. As long as you can hear this sound, I'll keep all of you awake. But if this sound stops, then you will have to wake me up. The metallic sound was like the last form of resistance from a human whose flame of life was about to be snuffed out by the fury of nature. It was by no means pleasant to the ears, but it was the sound of civilization. It was absolute proof that we were still alive. It was our heartbeat. Yuni was sleeping in my arms. He'd been in a dangerous state of hypothermia, but his body temperature was slowly rising. The heat was returning to his hands and feet as well. According to Yomogi, he was lucky to have survived without losing any fingers. When I heard that, I breathed a huge sigh of relief. Curled up in a ball, Yuni's soft breaths can be heard as he slept on. Even though it's dangerous to sleep while suffering from hypothermia, it'd be even more dangerous to waste his strength at the moment. It should be okay to let him sleep as long as I wake him up every 30 minutes. Wrapped up in my blanket, I stared at my beloved watch, which had been completely scratched up by now. In this long night, which almost felt like it would last an eternity, I thought about many, many things. For example, I opened and flipped through the 20 years of my life like an album. Elementary school, when I wrote a love letter. High school, when I found out a senpai I really admired had a girlfriend and cried all night. Going drinking with friends in the same class and then going overboard with the alcohol, resulting in a terrible hangover the day after. All of them were just simple everyday things. But when I think back on them now, all those days sparkled brightly like precious jewels. Perhaps dying will make all the memories I'd accumulated inside me deeper. Perhaps everything will return to zero. All that will remain here is the inorganic record that I was once here. And these pieces of memories I have left in the hearts of those who knew me. That'll be all. I don't want to lose those simple yet irreplaceable, priceless memories. I don't want to die. I really, really don't want to die. Besides that, the long, long night made me ponder many other things. One thing that dominated my thoughts was the situation with Satoru. About what Yuni had said in SPHIA. You killed him. Satoru killed that man. Yuni witnessed it. That was why he was so frightened when he saw me in Satoru's body. I believed in Satoru. Yet things have happened that made me lose faith in him. I once thought of Satoru as my partner. A partner with whom I shared the experience of the strange personality exchange phenomenon. In a snowy world where no one else could be trusted, he was the only person I believed in. Yet, he'd killed someone. Because I was tossed right back into the blizzard, I haven't had the time to think about it. But now that I have, it's really frightening. Satoru, he killed that man. No, it wasn't Satoru. The murderer simply cannot be Satoru. Because the person who held the blade was Hattori, not Satoru. Yuni must be mistaken somehow. After struggling with it, that's the final conclusion I came to. I believe in Satoru. Even if everyone else in the world loses faith in him, I believe in Satoru because Satoru is my partner. Despite never being in contact with him, we're very close, as if he's my other half. Our relationship is the only thing that's keeping me sane. Ever since arriving at SPHIA and the shelter cabin, I've become much more unstable. With nature's wrath at the shelter cabin and the murderous monster at SPHIA, no normal person would be able to act like everything was okay. But thinking back, I realized it's because Satoru was here, because he was so calm, that I was able to keep my sanity. Satoru. I wonder if Satoru's okay. I wonder if Satoru is still alive. I want to see him. I want to see and talk to him. I want to hear his voice. I want to touch his hand. Satoru, my partner. My irreplaceable partner. Yuni woke up in my arms. Slowly he opened his eyes. Hey, it's not time yet. You can sleep a bit longer. Yuni shook his head. It's okay, I slept enough. If I sleep too much, it'll make me dumb, right? Do you feel okay? Does any part of your body feel strange? I'm okay. I'm full of energy now. Even though he still looked cold, he had a bright smile on his face. Can I stop worrying now? Kokoro, you can sleep now. I'll wake you up. Don't worry. I'm still okay. If you can't sleep, how about I sing you a lullaby? Sleep now, fall asleep. What kind of song is that? I smiled slightly. At the same time, I was surprised by the fact that I was even able to smile. It's the first time I realized that people can still smile even in a situation as dire as this. Ah, that's right, I forgot. Throwing off his blanket, Yuni jumped to his feet. Hey, Seiji? Yes? Yomogi slowly raised his head. Yuni, shouldn't you be sleeping a little more? Don't worry about me, I'm fine. More importantly, try the phone again. The phone? Phone? Phone, you mean the satellite phone? That's right. 3 days ago, Yomogi recovered a satellite phone at the scene of the airplane crash. If we were able to get through to someone with the satellite phone, we can let them know our location. Then a rescue could be requested. But according to the newspaper article, no, even if we just ignore that newspaper article, the satellite that the phone needed to work can't operate due to the current effects of the solar winds. Even if the phone connects to the satellite by sheer luck, the chances of getting a proper connection is 1 in a million. Even if we were to dial once every second for 24 hours straight, we would only get a proper connection once every 11.5 days. You can call that a miracle. The kind of miracle that has, sadly, not happened yet. That's why what Yomogi's failures have taught us during these 3 days, in which he tried and failed over and over again to make a call from the satellite phone. Yuni, it's really a shame the phone is useless. It won't connect. Why? If you don't try, you'll never know, right? Even if it didn't connect yesterday, even if it didn't connect the day before that, even if it doesn't connect just a moment ago, now at this very moment, maybe it might just connect. But just dial it. Wrapped up in her blanket, Mayuzumi interrupted. Just like Yuni said, we won't know until you try. We should try dialing. Yomogi hesitated as he rubbed his chin. Nothing else to do. I thought about it. Things may certainly be as Yuni had said. That's what I started to think. At this exact moment, the phone may connect. There's still a chance for a miracle. What are you waiting for? If we try right now, it could be our chance. And you want to give up? Article 27, paragraph 1 of the Japanese Constitution. All people should have the right and the obligation to work. So get moving, you lame brain. But Yomogi didn't move at all. Perhaps his hopes have already crumbled away because of the exhaustion from the past couple of days. Yomogi-san, the phone. Where's the phone? Uyukawa-san, are you gonna try? That's right, please tell me where you keep the phone. It's in my bag. I quickly ran over to Yomogi's bag and looked inside. I found the phone right away. What number should I try? 110. No, 119 isn't quite right either. If you want a number to dial, try the mountain rescue team. The number is... I dialed the number Yomogi gave me. Of course, I don't think it'll connect. The phone's speaker went silent. It's just a waste of effort. Just like you said, it was useless to try. The moment that thought entered my head... Huh? Yes, this is the Mountain Hokkaido Distress Response Council Mountain Rescue Team. That's a long fucking name, huh? Hello? Hello, is anyone there? It went through. It went through. Huh? Huh? What do I do? What do I do? I was so shocked that any possible response went right out of my head. I just stared blankly, not knowing what to say. Give it to me. Yomogi grabbed the phone. Hello? Hello? Yomogi yelled into the phone. We're passengers from HAL 18, the plane that went down. It's been reported in the news, right? Whereabouts unknown? So that's what happened, huh? Well, whatever. Yes, that's right. The crash site of HAL 18 is on Mount Akakura in South Hokkaido. We're the ones who made it out of the plane crash alive. There are a total of 4 survivors. Right now, we've sought shelter at the Mount Akakura emergency shelter cabin. You know where it is, right? My GPS shows 40 degrees, 35 minutes and 35 seconds latitude, 140 degrees, 55 minutes and 20 seconds longitude. Altitude plus 1,298 meters. We've been able to hold out until now, but we're at our limit. All supplies have been depleted. We hope you'll send someone to help us right away. Hello? Hello? Hey, you listening? Hello? Damn, we got cut off. Huh? Yomogi-san redialed again right away, but no good, it won't connect. No matter how many times he tried again after that, none of the calls made it through. Will they send help? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Hey, did you tell them everything? I tried to tell them everything they needed to know. It's just we got cut off in the middle. I didn't get a chance to hear their reply. The static was really bad. I could barely make out what they were saying. In fact, I'm not even sure that what I said made it through to them clearly at all. Exactly who got my message? You mean our location? The fact that we're trapped here? None of it went through. Yeah, I'm not sure it did either. Wait, then think of something. Do something. One more time. Call them again. It's impossible, Mayuzumi. The fact that we connected a moment ago is nothing short of a miracle. That miracle isn't going to happen twice. Hand it over, I'll do it. Lin grabbed the phone and pressed the redial button once again. It'll go through, I just know it will. If it doesn't, then it'll be a really big problem. No shit. Please go through. Come on, what's wrong? What happened? Go through. Please? Please? Please, because... With the phone still in her hand, Mayuzumi eventually collapsed to her knees with tears in her eyes. Mayuzumi-san. I laid a supporting hand on his shoulder. His shoulders were quivering. Pray. All that's left to do is to pray. And believe that our message got through properly. They're coming to help us for sure. Believe in that. Even though Yomogi's words were hopeful and inspiring, they did nothing to comfort Mayuzumi. Putting down the phone, she stumbled slowly toward the bed. Wrapping herself in her blanket, she went completely silent. Now she was muttering something repeatedly under her breath. If things keep going like this, she may just lose her mind. Getting more and more worried about her, I moved closer beside her. This time we won't make it. We'll all die, just like the newspaper article said. Just what are we doing anyway? Death makes people go crazy, makes people struggle, destroys the bonds between them, and yet we still try to live on. What a joke. Mayuzumi muttered into her blanket. She'd pretty much given up. Her eyes were hollow, staring at nothing in particular. I couldn't leave her alone in that state. I sat down in front of her. Mayuzumi-san, I said softly. I don't know whether Mayuzumi had heard me and decided to ignore me, or my words hadn't reached her, but she didn't respond, and instead continued to talking to herself. It was such a disappointing life. A boring life, don't you think? No, wait. Except for back then. Back then we were shining. Joy surrounded every aspect of living for us. We, our. She could be talking about Satoru. Satoru. I'm not sure when it started, but Mayuzumi was now in tears. Satoru, help me. Save me. Mayuzumi took hold of my arm. She looked into my eyes, but her stare was distant, as if she was looking at something else far away. Satoru, Satoru. I want to see Satoru again. Just one more time I want to see you. Please? Come and see me. Even if it's someone pretending to be him, I don't care, even then. I want him to say that he's coming to help me, that he'll protect me. Why? Why won't you come? Do you hate me now? Because I left your side? Because I abandoned you? The person she's looking at isn't me. It's Satoru she's seeing, begging him, pleading with him. But I couldn't help it. I couldn't go against my parents. No, that's just an excuse. I was just taking the easy way out. And out of my own selfishness, I betrayed you. That's why I want to apologize. I want to tell you that I'm sorry. That's why. That's why. Come and see me. Come and help me. Please. Her hands gripped my arm even more tightly. Her fingers dug into my skin. Satoru. The person she's asking for is Satoru. What she needs right now is not my consolation, but Satoru's words. If that's the case, I should try to remember Satoru's words from the message he had left behind in the VR. Try to remember the way that he talked. Then... Lin. Huh? Lin, it's me. Satoru? Yeah. I nodded. That's right. Before all the words had left my mouth, Mayuzumi was already hugging me. Satoru, Satoru, Satoru. She held me tight with all her strength, her arms wrapped around me, tighter and tighter. That strength and intensity represented the strong feelings Mayuzumi had for him. Satoru, I've wanted to see you. I tried to live. I tried to survive just for a little longer, only so I could see you again. I'd do anything just to see you again. Cruel things, unreasonable things, hateful things, I'd do anything. I don't care what anyone else thinks, because the only thing left in this world for me is you. Satoru. I stroked Mayuzumi's back gently as she continued mumbling into my chest. She felt so fragile, like a child, like someone so very young. Her body quivered. Lin. Somehow an incredible feeling enveloped me. It feels as if I've become Satoru, as if I've really become someone close to her. I want to protect her. I want to save her. The feeling spread through me. Hey Satoru, do you remember? When I asked you, what would you do if I suddenly disappeared from this world? Yeah, I remember. Of course I don't know a thing about that. But I just tried to imagine that something like that did happen between the two of them. Back then you told me I would search for the world where you were. And that even if you couldn't find that world, you'd said I'd keep on searching until I found it. You weren't lying when you said that, right? You'd keep searching for me if I disappeared. And one day you'd come find me and we'd be together again. Of course. Isn't it obvious? I stroked her hair gently. I'm so glad. Her body stopped shaking, and then you asked me the same thing. If I suddenly disappeared from this world, what would you do? And I said once 6 months had passed, I'd forget all about you. But I couldn't forget you. Losing you was so painful, so agonizing. I felt an unbearable sadness inside of me each and every day. I was so lonely. I just pretended to be strong. I'm such a horrible woman. It's not true. Lin, that's what makes you who you are. Satoru, please don't go anywhere. Don't disappear. I don't want to be alone. Stay with me forever. Don't ever leave me. Please? Please? Mayuzumi held me tighter and tighter. Lin, it's okay. It's alright. I'm not going anywhere. I'll stay by your side forever. No matter what, I'll always be with you, Lin. Satoru. When we talked about all the memories she had of being with Satoru, we talked on and on endlessly about sweet, happy memories, innocent and delightful memories, pleasant memories that made us both smile, and painful memories that tugged on our heartstrings, petty troubles that made funny stories now. That was the history Satoru and Mayuzumi had created together. The stories that they had woven together. Like a spring gushing forth, Mayuzumi spoke. I remained silent and listened. I listened on as Satoru, not myself. I was Satoru in those memories, alone with her. I watched Mayuzumi. I was there in one of her white, small, well-shaped ears. A simple earring. Could this be a present from Satoru? I slowly reached out and touched that earring. Mayuzumi gave a small jump. Sorry. No, it's okay. Satoru, you like touching my ear and that earring. Though, you know my ears are sensitive. You did say you could watch my reactions. Naughty, naughty. I hope I'm not turning red. I'm Satoru. I can't let this faze me. Self-control, self-control. Good, with that, it should be alright. Although, I guess I was childish as well. Always playing around with you. Surprising. The usual resolute, strong-willed Mayuzumi definitely doesn't seem like a woman that would flirt with a man. So she changes in front of the man she loves. No, that's not it. It could be that her everyday personality is just a mask she created for herself, and this is a return to her real personality. Don't you think that was fun? What do you mean by that? What does she mean by that? I mean that. Didn't we talk about that yesterday? Yesterday? There's no way you already forgot about that. What exactly is she talking about? I have the slightest idea. Did you, by any chance, forget? You didn't, right? This is bad. I have absolutely no idea what she's referring to. I'll be found out. What do I do? What do I do? Come on, it's that. Round and round. Round and round? Yeah, round and round. Ah, right, that. Yes, I remember. Round and round. Is that it? The that lovers often do? No, it's sheer desperation. I'll just go along with whatever she says. Yeah, that's it. Round and round on the beach. Round and round on the beach. Somehow this Koda scene came to mind. With Satsu as the axis, he held onto Mayuzumi and swung her round and round as she clung onto him. Like one of those rides in an amusement park. That must be it. Using the mental picture as reference, I spoke tentatively, since it was something I would never imagine Mayuzumi doing. On the beach at evening, round and round. It was so much fun. But Saturday, you didn't seem like you were having any fun at all. I was the only one in high spirits. That's right. I didn't understand what you thought was so fun about it. I didn't get it at all. Although I said that, I fully understood Mayuzumi's feelings. Holding onto her boyfriend round and round. Lovers playing with beautiful night view behind them. A world, a space, a time for just the two of them. I could understand it well. No, wait, I'm envious. That was very romantic. After Mayuzumi laughed, she drew away from me. We talked a lot, and I'm a little tired now. I'll lie down for a bit. Yeah. Good night. Good night. Lying down, she drew the blankets over her head. I caressed her back softly and stood up. Looks like she's somehow regained her composure. I think she'll be alright now. Thank you. From beneath the blankets, Mayuzumi softly said then, Uyukawa-san. She saw right through me. Despite my good deed, I felt just slightly dejected as I thought I'd put on a convincing act, but I felt thankful to Mayuzumi who went along with that with me. I felt like I'd gotten a bit close to her, even if only a little, and I was glad she cheered up. I felt it wave from the bottom of my heart. Leaving Mayuzumi, I went toward uni. Alright, we need to wrap this one up here because we're out of time. Again, for today. Day 6, huh? We're still alive, and maybe someone's coming to save us. Who knows? Thanks for watching, Bruce, and I'll see you in the next one.